Have fun now.
I'm not really fine. Do you know they paid me last week, and right now I can't even boost up to 10,000 naira in my account.
Seriously?
Yes.
Did you budget?
Which one is budgeting? I'm not a politician.
That's why your money is missing like NEPA lights.
But I didn't buy anything serious, shoes, bags, the thing that guys need now. And just like that, fiam, the money has disappeared.
But it's all these little things. That's why it's taking your money.
But what should I do?
See, you have to create a budget. You have to track your spending. You have to prioritize your needs over your wants. And you have to save before you spend, not the other way around.
So what you're trying to say that this money management thing is no child's play?
It's no child's play at all.
The Money Click is an annual financial literacy program to help you up your money game. The Money Click is not just about money, it's about mindset. So in the Money Click program, go beyond budgeting to rewire your thinking, to rewire your mindset, to change your thinking about income, to change your thinking about money management. So we'll help you grow your income, we'll help you manage it, we'll help you invest with confidence. Money is not
Okay, hello everyone, and good afternoon, and welcome to today's session here on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining us and joining us in time. Welcome to this session. My name is Chukwuemeka Onyenezi, and I'm going to be your anchor today, as always. Welcome to the Naira Academy, and today we're going to be talking about the power of compounding in stock investing. So let's look at what compounding is. Thank you so much, everyone that have joined us. I see you in the comments. Yes, thank you. My leaders, I see you as well. Thank you so much. Thank you. Okay, great. We have a good number, and I'm sure the numbers will also grow with time. So if you're here, so just do us a favor and share with your contacts, share in your group, share in your reading groups, share in your cohort. Tell people to come and join us here. And if you're here and you're wondering what are we talking about, we're talking about those, I'm referring to those in the Money Click program. And if you're here, you're not in the Money Click program, please do well to join the 2027 cohort as we have rounded up entries into 2026. All right, so let's get into what we have for you for today. So the power of compounding. That's the secret to gaining from the stock market, is in understanding the power of compounding. A lot of times people don't understand really what compounding is, but we want to explain it in a very, very simple way. People think money is built by earning more money, right? Money is built by, or wealth rather, is built by finding the right investment. Some people even think wealth is built by getting lucky. Some people think it's luck. People look at people that have grown wealth and say, forget that thing, it's just luck. It's just luck. He was just lucky and all that. Thank you so much, man, for being here. All right. You say it's just luck, But there's just one secret to wealth creation, to growing wealth. And that secret is compounding, right? Compounding is the secret behind the growth. And what is compounding? Compounding is earning returns on your money and then earning returns on those returns. Did you get that? Compounding is getting returns on your money and then getting returns on those returns, right? So you first put in your money and you get returns, right? And then you now get returns for the returns, right? So to put it simpler, it's your money starting to make money, right? And then that money that is making money starts to make money too. All right, let's look at it this way with an example. So let's say you invest 100,000, right, at 10% yearly return. You put your money in and the yearly return is 10%, right? So in year one, you earn 10,000, right? That's your return for the 100,000. So your total return becomes 110,000. All right, that's at the end of year one. Okay, in year two, now instead of earning on the 100,000, you put back the 10,000 into the same investment, right? And it becomes 110. So in year two, your 10% earnings, assuming the earnings remain at 10%, your 10% earnings is not on the 100, it's now on 110,000, right? So it means that your return for year 2 will be 11,000. All right. So if you earn 10% on your 110,000, you get 11,000. All right. So at the end of that year, you can successfully add that 11,000 to the 110,000, and you're going to have 121,000. So when you enter year 3, right, you will now have 121,000 to invest. Okay, so you earn 10% on that 121,000. It means you're going to have a return of 12,100. If you add it again to 121,000, you have a total of 133,000. All right. So if you noticed something, what is happening is that your returns are growing every year without you adding more money. You're not putting more money into the investment. The only money you're putting in is the returns you're putting back, right? And that's why we'll say that if you want to grow wealth, then, or if you're a young person, your purpose for investing should be to grow wealth. The secret to investing is grow your wealth to an extent where your capital base becomes big enough that the returns now begins to make a lot more meaning. I don't know if you understand that. Now, when you're still at the level of 100,000, 200,000, give it years. That capital base, remember, we started this explanation with 100,000. And by year 3, by reinvesting your returns, by the end of year 3, you have 133,000. Continue this for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years. We're saying without adding extra money, just the initial money you added, all you need to do is keep reinvesting your returns. You build it to the point where even if the returns remain at that 10,000, you will get to a point where at some point, even your yearly return of 10% might give you that initial 100,000 that you reinvested so many years ago. That's the power of compound. That's compounding for you, right? Sometimes why a lot of people can't benefit from compounding is because they put the money, the returns come and they take it out. Remember, for compounding to work for you, you must have to do something. There's something in for you to do. And what it's in it for you to do is that you must reinvest the returns. All right? You must reinvest the returns. So let's say you put your money in a stock that pays you dividends every year. So every year you must put back the dividends into that stock. You must put it back. All right? So compounding is a very powerful thing if only you give it time to happen. Yeah, at first it looks slow. It looks quite slow. But over time, it becomes explosive. It becomes explosive when the amount in question increases. When you're compounding hundreds of thousands, right? When you're compounding 10,000 and adding, it looks small. But imagine starting with 100,000 and you get to a point where you get to 1 million, right? Now, the 10% of 1 million is now that 100,000. And you can get to 10. So it's a gradual thing, but the more the money increases, the more explosive it becomes. But the truth is, there is one essential ingredient that is for that explosion to happen, which a lot of people most times do not have, right? That essential ingredient is time. Sometimes it's not that people don't have time. People are not willing to give time, right, to their investments to grow. All right? So time is essential for compounding to happen. And when we say time, I don't mean 1 year. Like people who come and say, I want to put my money somewhere and I want it to do this for me. I want it to remove it in the next few years. No, right? You must give it time. We're talking about 10 years, 20 years, and even more, right? So there's a question here. Does compounding mean that you just invest, and leave it? Do you have to go to the app and deliberately take the dividend and reinvest it? yes, you have to reinvest it. Now, if you have an app where you can automatically set that money that comes into your account at every point in time, let's say you set that, oh, at every month, so and so amount of money should be reinvested. That can happen automatically for you, right? Because once you're paid dividends, it goes into your wallet. So that money from the wallet can automatically be reinvested. That if you set such a command, right, on your app. If you don't, it means you have to manually go and reinvest it. Go and reinvest it. I see another question here. For instance, in money market, when one pull out their interests of the principal, does the compounding not work? No, it doesn't work, man. Right? If you pull out your interests, there's no compounding anymore. Why? Because when you pull out your interest and leave the initial money that you put in for you to continue, what the returns will work on is that initial money that you put in. So you put your money in a money market that pays you 15% return. So you put in, let's say, 1 million naira, and at the end of the year, they'll pay you 15%, right? So at the end of the year, you get 15% return, which is 150 million, right? Now, compounding only works if you take the 150 million, add it to the 1 million, and reinvest for the next year. So in the next year, you're not going to be earning 15% of 1 million. You'll be earning it on 1,150,000, right? You get it again, you reinvest again, right? Or for some money markets, you can tell them reinvest it for me. So they just keep reinvesting it for you. So any returns you have, they know they should put it back. So they always put it back for you. All right. So if you're not putting back the interest, you're not compounding. You're not compounding. All right. Yes. So does making withdrawal from an investment in money market affect its compounding effect? Yes. Yes, ma'am. It affects it. It affects it. Right? So if you want it to compound, you don't take the money out. If you want it to compound, you have to let the money be reinvested. Okay? Most times when you talk to your funds manager and tell them you want it reinvested, they will just add it back for you in the next cycle. All right. Whenever the returns comes, they will add it back for you. Tell them you want your returns reinvested, they'll reinvest it for you. But if you're taking your returns away, if you're withdrawing your interest and your returns, there is no compounding happening for you. Right. So that's why I said that you have to do something for compounding to happen for you. You have to put the money back. So at the stage where we are, you are the stage, all of us, we are all at the stage where we are still building. Right? So because you're still building, you need to keep putting the returns back for it to compound and keep growing. Now, it is when you get to a point where you know that, okay, I'm done building, this is the time you now start collecting passive income out of it. So the problem is that most times people start investing and their initial goal for investing is to get returns. If your initial goal for investing at a young age is returns, then you're not going to compound, right? So your first goal for investing at a young age is to grow. Growth is the first goal. And if growth is the first goal, it means that anything that comes out of that investment goes back into it, right? Give yourself 10, give yourself 20 years, and then you can change your goal to start getting passive income out of it. And by then, the investment would have grown enormously, right? That the returns will now begin to make a lot of sense. And trust me, at that stage, it's not even a stage where you will tell yourself, I need to withdraw the money. Are you getting me? You don't need to collapse the whole account. The goal is not to, I need you to understand this. On the long run, the goal is not to grow your portfolio to a point where you will tell yourself, I want to liquidate it and go and enjoy my life. That's not the goal. The goal is to grow your portfolio to a good capital, to a good capital amount that the returns can take care of everything you need and want, and you can even bequeath it as an inheritance to your children. Now, let me give you an example. Just imagine that you have so just imagine that you have what amount am I going to use now? Let's say your goal for retirement, and you are at the stage of retirement already. And let's say your goal for retirement is that you want an income of 100 million every year, right? 100 million every year. Now, if you've been building all this while and you are at that point of retirement and you have 1 billion, 1 billion, right? It means that you can meet your 100 million a year requirement as a retiree by just putting your 1 billion. You don't need to reinvest anymore. All you need to do is put your 1 billion in a money market. It gives you 10%, or even in treasury bills or anything. You get 10%, 100 million. You take your 100 million, put the 1 billion again the next year. You just keep putting it back. So you just keep putting it back and just keep putting it back. Okay, so you get to a point where you tell yourself, okay, I've done this enough. It has gone enough. Okay, with my 1 billion, I can meet up with my yearly goal of 100 million. Now, that 1 billion becomes a source of passive income for you, or that 1 billion investment rather. 1 billion in equity becomes investment for you. Okay. All right. So okay. Exactly. So keep reinvesting. Your goal at this point is growth. So you don't have to touch anything. All right. Let me see. Exactly. Thank you so much. Yes, they will ask you as well, so that they will know if they can keep doing that reinvesting for you. Okay. All right. Looking for questions. Yes, it does. It does. Compounding. So compounding is compound interest, right? Right. So compounding is compound interest. Yes. Thank you so much. Okay. Any more questions? If I skipped any question, please. You can bring down for me question right up there. Even though I talked about it already, but I'm just going to go through it again. So it should say, does compounding mean that you just invest and leave it? Do you have to go to the app and deliberately take? Okay, I've already answered this. I've done this already. Okay, all right. Yes. Okay, so I've treated those questions. All right, so we move on. And I hope, please, if you don't understand, just ask the question, please. If you don't understand, right? The principle, compound, right? So if just look at it this way, if you have 1 million and you're taking out from it, imagine when you can have 500 million, right? If you allow it to grow. And if you keep, I told you, if you put 100,000, then allow it to get 10%, 110, put 110 again, allow it another 10%, you get 11,000, put it back, 1,000, and all that. That is if you don't even add more money. Now, imagine when you are investing, you're still reinvesting everything. Give yourself 10 years, invest aggressively, right? And at the same time, compounding is happening. And at the same time, you're doing it continuously. Trust me, you're going to get your goal in that 10 years, right? Okay, so like I said, I was saying that time is of essence. When we're talking about investing, don't be looking at it of like a 1 year, 2 years thing. No, we're talking about long term here, right? And if you want to see the real outcome that you want, then that long term has to come into play, right? The long term, we're talking about 5 years and above, 10 years and above, honestly, right? You need to give it time for it to work. Okay. And okay, let me give you an example of how time can be of benefits, right? How time can be of benefits to your investment. Imagine two people, right? Person A, let's call the person A. Person A starts investing early, right? And the person invests small amounts, but consistently. All right. Person B waits, invests larger amounts later. The truth is, person A would end up with more money. Why? Because compounding worked in their favor. So if you decide that, okay, if two people, let me put it this way, two people are of the same age, right? And they are 40 years old currently. And they started investing. One started investing when he was 20 and started investing, let's say, 2,000 every month, right? And the other started investing when they were 30. And instead of 2,000, the person started investing 5,000. The person who started investing 2,000 at age 20 would have more money at 40 than the person who started investing 5,000 at age 30. So even though the person who started at age 30 started with more money, the person who started at age 20 with less money will have more money at age 40. Why? Because the person who started at age 20 had more time, a whole 10 years for compounding to happen for the person before the second person. So time is of essence, right? Time is of essence. That's when compounding comes into place, when you give it time, right? And that's why we tell you that you must start with quite a lot of money. You can start with as little as you can, but start early, right? And it's important too, if our children can also start early with as little as it's not about how much, right? No matter how little, start and be consistent with it. And trust me, time is going to pay you back. And so the most mistake that people make is they delay because they think they need a lot of money before they start. People think, or people procrastinate also. People just say, oh, I'll start later, But delaying is more expensive than starting small. And if a lot of people can understand this, it will change a lot of things. A lot of people think that they just have to have plenty money before they can start. You don't have to have a lot of money for you to start, right? If you started with the little you had 5 years ago, you would have more. You would have more right now, right? You would have more than what you put in at the moment. Okay, so the truth is, stop procrastinating. That what you have is too small. It's not. You can imagine somebody started 20 with 2,000, but at 40 has more than a person that started at 30 with 5,000. So even if you double it, right? And that's the reason why starting early is key. It's not about saying, oh, I'm going to start later and I'm going to go big. Trust me, the person who started small and started early would have it better than you that started late and started big. All right. Okay. So is the way we spend, right? Spending is one thing that is delaying a lot of us also from investing. So every time you spend money unnecessarily, I need you to look at it this way. You need to look at it that you are not just losing that money, you're losing what that money could have become in the future. Because the reason why most times we spend the way we spend is because we do not understand the implication, or we do not play a good picture of the implication to ourselves. If you're just looking at it that you're just losing money, that is not an implication enough. But if you begin to see it that you're losing what that money could have become in the future, now you begin to understand what is at stake. For me, that's the hidden cost. It's not about the money that you just wasted at the moment. It's about what that money would have done for you over the years. All right. And when we're talking about investing, one of the simplest places where you can invest is in the stock market, right? You can invest in the stock market, and stocks are powerful for compounding simply because they grow in value over time. They can also pay you dividends, right? And then they allow you to reinvest. What am I saying? You can buy a stock today and you buy the stock for $5, right? Or you buy the stock for 5,000 naira, for example. Now, that stock can be growing in value, which means that in the next few years, that 5,000 can become 10,000 in years, right? And also, not just that, that 5,000 would have been yielding dividends along the years as the value is growing. So your money can grow in two ways when you invest in the stock market, right? And remember, the stock market is volatile. The stock market is risky. And don't say because it's risky, you're not going to invest, right? Life itself is risky, according to Jim Rohn. According to Jim Rohn said that life is so risky, no one gets out of it alive. So life is risky. So don't say, oh, it's risky, I'm not going to do it, right? Yes, there are less risky options that you can do. The less risky options are the money markets, right? The less risky options are, what is it called? The less risky options are, yes, money markets, especially things like treasury bills and all money markets vehicles that we have. But the stock market has an advantage. When you put the money in a money market that promises you returns, right? What you get is your return. You don't get an increase in the value most of the time, in some of them, right? But when you put your money in the stock market, you don't just get return as per dividends. You also get return in appreciation of value. In appreciation of value. Now, there's also another kind of investment that gives you this kind of movement. And it's real estate, it's properties. And that's also why, personally, I love properties, right? Properties will give you income, and at the same time, it will also be appreciating in value. There's no building today that's cost the same last year, right? And it didn't stop that building from getting rent along those years. All right. So you can have a building today, it's cost 10 million, and in the next 5 years, that building can move from 10 million to 50 million, right? At the same time, it has been making you money. All right. So the goal is to look for that investment, that would grow in value and as well bring you returns that you can put back into it for it to compound with. All right. So there's a compounding formula. There's a compounding formula for wealth, right? And it's very simple. It's for you to invest consistently. It's for you to reinvest your returns. It's for you to stay patient. It's for you to avoid unnecessary withdrawals. I want to say it again. The formula for compounding. Because most times when we say compounding, yes, thank you so much, bonds. That's another one. So the formula for compounding is, like I said, there's something you have to do. You need to do something. All right. You don't say, oh, I'm investing. Compounding is not happening to me. It's because you're not doing something. For everything you have to gain in life, there's a part you have to play. Right. So for compounding to happen for you, there's something you must do. Number one is to make your investing consistent. Stop waiting for when you have plenty money. Stop waiting for when you have that kind of money that you think is enough for you to invest. Stop waiting. Right. And that's the reason why you just have to take actions. Just start moving. If what you can invest is 1,000 naira, do it. If what you can invest is $5 every month, do it. Just do it. All right. So that's the number one rule. Invest consistently. The number two rule in the formula for compounding for wealth is reinvest your returns. You must reinvest your returns. Right. The number three rule is to stay patient. Stay patient. Stop doing, you put your money and you want it in the next 1 year. It is not enough time. In fact, let me even ask. When you plant a tree, does it mature overnight? No tree ever matures overnight. right? No tree ever matures overnight. And in fact, the trees that take more time to mature get to give you more at the point of maturity. For example, when you look at the value of, let's say, the corn, right? And you look at the value of palm. Now, palm takes years before it starts fruiting. Palm can take as much as 4 or 5 years before it starts fruiting, right? For the old species. Now, corn can take just 3 months. Your maize has matured and you take it, right? But here's the thing about palm. When palm matures and starts fruiting, it fruits for life. It fruits for life. It just keeps fruiting. The fruit goes off, another one comes up. It becomes an endless source of palm. It becomes an endless source. But you have to be patient. If you must get the fruit out of the palm, you have to be patient. But if you're patient enough, then you will reap the benefit for almost a lifetime. You reap the benefits. All right? You reap the benefit. So what kills compounding is impatience. We want it now, sharp. So impatience kills compounding. Right? Another thing that kills compounding is panic selling. Oh, you just see price do like this. The price just dips a little. Oh, you're in shock. You rush and go and sell. Remember, the goal is ownership. Right? So stop allowing the things that are moving, the price movements to affect you. But before you can say you want to allow price movement to affect you, it means you understand what you put your money in. It means you have a very good understanding of the business behind the stock. And if you don't have a good understanding, then you would always be moved by price movement. All right. Another thing that kills compounding is chasing quick returns. Chasing quick returns. People who want to put their money in today and they want to withdraw in the next 6 months. People who want to put their money today and they want it doubled, tripled, multiplied in 1 year. Right? Quick returns kills compounding. Inconsistency also kills compounding. So that's why I said as little as you can, just be consistent with it. All right. And the truth is, once you interrupt compounding, you reset the progress. You completely reset it. Right. Like I said earlier, wonderful way to think about compounding is like planting a tree. Okay. So at first, it seems like nothing is happening. When you plant a tree today, it seems like nothing is happening. Oh, this tree is not growing. What's wrong with this? I've had many years now. What's wrong now? What's happening? Then it grows slowly, and eventually it becomes massive. Even for trees that are used for timber, you don't get out of it immediately, right? But the truth is, if you plant early, if you nurture it, if you don't dig it up every week, which is what a lot of us do with our investing. If what you do is the moment there's a shake, you go and sell your stock. It's like digging up the plants. And if you keep digging up the plants every week or every day or anytime you feel there's something wrong around, the plant will not grow. Even the Bible says it. The plant will not grow. All right? So you need to give it time. You need to nurture it. Right? And you need to start early. And if you're not early, please let your children also start early. It's important we also start teaching our children for them to start early, right? Okay, let me look at the questions. So, is it correct to classify real estate as high-risk investment? For me, well, it could be not. I don't think real estate is high risk. The problem with real estate is high capital, right? But the truth is, real estate is not high risk per se. It's not. But it also depends, like every other business. If you must get what you need to get out of it, then you need to ensure that you understand what you're doing, right? Because you could do real estate and you don't get anything out of it. But if you do it right, if you study the environment well, if you know where you're putting the investment you're putting and what you're getting out of it, then it becomes a very good investment. You know, like some people who would prefer to go to their hometown and put up a building that will cost them the same if they did it in the big cities. Now, the cost of cement is the same all over the town, all over the country. It will cost you the same thing to build that same building. For example, okay, let me give a typical example. You want to put an investment in Abuja and you want an investment in Makodi. Now, it will cost you the same thing to build those two buildings, whether in Abuja or in Makodi, right? The difference is the land cost. That's where the major difference comes in, right? Now, but at the end of the day, okay, all right. So no business is actually zero risk. No business, right? Every business has risk attached to it. But if I'm going to classify, I'm going to in our present situation in Nigeria, well, in some countries maybe not, but in Nigeria, I'll put it as medium risk. I'll put it as medium risk. Yes, I was looking at this question earlier. The principal rate and interests are the same way our math teacher flogged us about for primary 6. Yes, it's the same thing. It's the same thing. Simple interest. Okay, in secondary school, in primary school, we're taught simple interest and compound interest. The same thing happens. So when it's simple interest, it means that the interest is only charged on the principal or the simple interest. So if you put 100 naira for 10%, simple interest means that the interest is only gotten from the 100 naira, which is the original money that was put in, right? So even if you use 10 naira, that 10 naira will not be part of the next interest that will be charged on it, right? That's simple interest. Compound interest means that money will be charged on both, or interest rate will be charged on both the principal and the returns. That's compound interest. All right. And there are two ways it can work. It can work for you or it can work against you. When you're using consumer credits, right? We're talking about loan apps, credit cards most of the times. It's working against you. Compound interest is working against you because what they use is compound interest. So when you borrow money today, let's say 100 naira at 10%, right? Now, when the money matures, you're supposed to pay 10 naira. If you don't pay, they take the 10 naira, add it to the 100. So in the next month following, you no longer owe 100. You now owe 110. So it's basically the same thing, right? Yes. Okay. Yes, I was frozen, but I am back now. I was frozen, but I am back. I'm back. I'm back. I'm back. Okay. If you have more questions, please, you can put them out in the comment section. All right. So compounding rewards patience. Compounding does not reward speed. It's not about how fast you are. It's about being patient and letting time do the work, right? It's not about how fast you grow. It's about how long you stay consistent, right? When you plant a tree, the goal is not to make the tree grow fast. The goal or your immediate goal is to wait for the tree to become mature, right? So just like our investing, we need to wait for it to mature. All right. So if you truly want to build wealth, the truth is you have to start early. You have to stay consistent. You have to trust the process. You have to trust the process. All right. So it's just a simple formula of adding small money, add time, add discipline, and it's going to result to wealth eventually. The problem is that most times you don't have the discipline, right? Because you don't have the discipline, we can't wait. We can't wait. So we want it tomorrow, today, sharp, sharp. If we're not seeing it happening, it's like it's not going to work, right? So that's the problem that we have. So, and a lot of it falls on our discipline as humans. So that's the reason why we should understand what discipline is about. Discipline is all about patience, right? A huge part of discipline is about patience and perseverance. Always bear in mind and look at it like a tree. You don't plant a tree today and it matures today. Trees take time. They take years, a lot of years. They take years for it to mature to the point where you can reap, out of it. All right. So look at your investments the same way, right? See your investment the same way you see planting a tree. So don't expect that you plant a tree today. In fact, if you plant the tree today and automatically the tree matures tomorrow, won't you be scared? Would you be scared? Exactly. Won't you be scared that you plant your tree today and tomorrow? And I think it now begins to make sense when you think about it this way. Especially when people come to you with, all those offers that will tell you that once you put your money here, in the next 1 month, you get 100% return and it will be consistent, right? The same way. Is it possible that you plant the tree and in a month's time, the tree starts yielding fruits for you? It takes time. It takes time. Even if you understand that things that are worthwhile take time, things that are of value take time, right? So we'll begin to give it the time. So if we can begin to become patient. If you remember, for those in January cohort, when we talked about self-discipline, one of the attributes of a disciplined person is patience, it's perseverance. Right? So when you do the needful, when you do the first few things in the formula, right? What I'm talking about is when you invest consistently, when you reinvest your returns, the next thing for you to do is to be patient, right? Patient. Invest, avoid unnecessary withdrawals. And again, I want to reiterate that one of the reasons why people are not patient with their investment is because they don't have a good foundational structure, right, before they start investing. And I've said it over and over again. Before you start investing, you must have a good financial foundation. If you don't have a good financial foundation, your investment is not going to reach 1 year, you go withdraw. What do I mean? What do I mean by financial foundation? First, you must have an emergency fund before you start investing, right? If you don't have an emergency fund, one small emergency, you don't go liquidate your investment. Number 2, avoid high interest debts. There's no need that you're investing, but your debt is already growing faster than investment. So clear your debt first before you start investing. Ensure you have an emergency fund first before you start investing. If not, when emergencies come, you will touch those investments. All right? You will touch them. And the moment you touch it, you've reset the whole process. That's how compounding works. You've reset the whole process. So ensure you have an emergency fund so that when emergencies come up, you will have a buffer. And remember, like I would always say, emergencies are not a matter of if. Emergencies is a matter of when. They will happen. If you live in Nigeria, in fact, in Africa, you are already living in emergency itself. So you must be prepared for it, right? And lastly, one thing you need to have before you start investing as part of your foundation is a stable income, right? You need to have a stable income so that as you're investing, you're letting that money go to work. So that you're not investing the money that you're expecting to use tomorrow, right? So when you have a steady income, you have a portion of money, no matter how little, that you are portioned for investing, and you let it work for you. When you don't have a stable income, that's when it hooks you, like we'll say, you will now result to going back to that investment because you need it. Because when you don't have a steady income, you don't have an emergency fund. So these things are important for your financial foundation. So the financial foundation you need to build before you start investing relies on 3 things. It relies on having an emergency fund. It relies on having a stable income, and it relies on not having high interest debts. All right. And for those who don't know what emergency funds are, the emergency fund is money tucked away that meets you in time of emergency. And we've said that ideally you should have about 3 to 6 months of living expense, ideally for as emergency funds, right? So this is where we draw the curtain today. Thank you so much, everyone. I see no more questions again. Okay, thank you so much. I don't see any more questions. This is where we draw the curtain for today. This is all end the class today. If you have any more questions, you can still put them out. You can still put them out if you have more questions. Thank you so much, Mark. Thank you. More questions, please put out your questions. Put out your questions. Put out your questions. Okay. All right. Any more questions, please? Okay. Yes, for this, yes, we're going to have one in the Money Click. Yes, this year we're going to have one. We're going to have, in the Money Click, we're going to have a real estate person, right? A real estate professional speak to us about real estate investing. Yes, we're going to have one this year. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ma. All right. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you for being here. Okay. All right. So thank you so much. All right. Okay. All right. All right. Yes. Yes. Thank you. In fact, that's a good reminder. Thank you very much, my cohort 2 leader. Thank you so much, ma. For those who are yet to register for the How to Make Money from Stocks class, this is the time. Oh, there's no time, right? This is the time. Please register for the How to Make Money from Stock class. It's very important that you're there in that class. Very, very key, right? Already we've had one class already in the Money Click on stock investing for January cohorts. In the second Sunday of this month, we're going to have part 2, right, of that stock investing. And after that part 2 of that stock investing comes the How to Make Money from Stocks webinar, right? And you should be in all. Don't miss out to be in any of them. Don't miss out to be in any of them. Please, don't miss it out. All right. Thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to treat this in a subsequent class. I'm going to talk about investments like this, gold and precious metals. We're going to treat this in a subsequent class, right? Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. Don't worry, ma. We're going to talk about commodities. We're going to talk about them. Okay. All right. So for those in the Money Click March cohorts, I would like you to take it one step at a time, right? You can join the How to Make Money from Stocks webinar now. You also have the opportunity to join later on, when we're going to have it again, right? All right. So if it would confuse you, right, to join now, go ahead and join. We'll put out the information, right? For those in the January cohort, this is the time. My father would say something to me in those days when we were growing up. He would say, do things when others are doing it, right? Run when others are running, jump when others are jumping. So in the January cohort, this is the time to join this course, right? This is the time not to miss any class. If you missed our last class on stock investing in the Click, go back and watch it. If you don't watch that class in the last class, the next class will sound like mystery to you. Trust me, right? Second Sunday of this month, you will not really get what we're talking about. So please start from the foundation, right? Get the foundation and join us in the next class. And then please register for the How to Make Money from Stock class. It will help you, trust me. It will be one of the best things that was going to happen to you, right? For Money Click, for billionaires, it's just 12,000 naira, and you're in the class. All right. Sorry, 12.5 for Money Click members. For outsiders, it's now 25,000. Yes. If you're not in the Money Click program, if you want to join the How to Make Money from Stock class, it is 25,000. It's no longer 17.5. It's 25,000. All right. For Money Click members, we decided to leave it the same for you to register and join, so that you all have that opportunity. So thank you so much, everyone, for being here. And this is where we draw the curtain for today. My name remains Chukwemeka Oyenizi, and I will see you in the next class. Remember, we're always here Wednesdays and Thursdays, right? And recently, we're incorporating Fridays because we want to bring people in the March cohort up to speed. All right. So Friday, which is tomorrow, 12 noon, we're also going to be here to interact with those in the March cohort. If you're in the Money Click in January cohort, and you know that you've not been following as you should, trust me, you want to join us again tomorrow, because we're going to be talking about something different, right? Not stocks and all. We're going back to January curriculum, and we're going to be talking about discipline. We're going to be talking about money management and all, before we can get them up to speed to where we are right now. So thank you very much, everyone, for being here. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.